Hey guys. Oh my gosh, it's been I feel like months since I've made a video, but in all reality, I think it's been 4 to 5 weeks, maybe four. But how is everybody? Oh my gosh, I finally feel like um, my life is kind of in sync with just like a balance. Well, sort of. I mean, as much as it can be, I kind of feel like I'm finally in a groove. I took a break because uh, Braxton was starting kindergarten and having birthdays. Braxton and Griffin turned 5 and 6. We had family in town. My husband was traveling a lot. Griffin was starting a new school, and Henry is in the thick of being 2. And it was, and we started a new sport. It was just like a lot going on at once. So, not necessarily like anything major, but enough to feel like our world was kind of being rocked, and it was just a new normal that we had to get used to. And like I said, I finally kind of feel like, okay, maybe I kind of have adjusted to this schedule and don't feel like every day is absolute chaos. I mean, I think it is chaos, but I don't think it feels like chaos in my head. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I also started a new, I started going to a new therapist, so we can talk about that as well. So, yeah, just a lot of changes really going on. Nothing wild, just change. Anyways, so yeah, the boys are all in school. Bo is working a lot. I really feel like when you watch movies or on TV and there's just that like stereotypical like stay-at-home mom, like I am that mom right now. I'm driving kids here and there and making dinner and just like trying to basically just make sure everyone's fed and to where they're supposed to be on time. And I feel like that is like the extent of most of my days, and it's kind of intense. I didn't realize how intense that was going to be. But it's constant. I think that that's just, especially going from summer where we don't really have a schedule. We have like one activity in the summer that we keep doing throughout that's like consistent. But other than that, I mean, we can wake up when we want to. If we don't want to go anywhere, we don't have to. There's nowhere pressing that we need to be, and there's no consequences if we don't go to things we don't want to go to. But now it's like, no, there's consequences if you don't get your kids to school and on time. So, yeah, just dealing with that. I was kind of laughing at myself tonight because I took my kids to Taekwondo. So, I picked up Braxton from school. We came home. I kind of like sorted out our laundry, got the kids dressed, went to Taekwondo, went and picked up dinner because I just didn't feel like making dinner because my husband is at a meeting really late tonight. So I was like, I'm not making dinner. So did that, got home, and then so their Taekwondo uniforms are like supposed to be stark white, and they're not because my kids like rolled in the grass when we got home. And I just feel like, again, that stereotypical like boy mom, stay-at-home mom who's got her kids uniforms with like grass stains all over them. So in my kitchen sink I have half of it filled with OxyClean, which I've never used before, so I hope that works. And I'm letting their clothes soak to get out those tough stains. So I'll let you know how that goes. But again, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, could I paint that picture any better right now? Like, no. Anyways, so yeah, my husband's gone right now, so I thought I'd squeeze in a video really quick. And to kind of keep the boys occupied, I'm letting them play Minecraft on our Xbox. And this is the second time I've ever let them do that. That is totally my husband's thing. I never do video games or really engage in that, but I'm like, you know what? Here, this is your reward for being good today. You can have 20 minutes of Xbox before bed. Also so weird that they can just like do that and be content, that they're old enough to like navigate that. Because I can't even do that. I told them, I'm like, I can get you logged in and that's about it. Do you know what you're doing? They're like, yeah. I'm like, I hope so, because if you have any challenges, Mommy can't help you. Anyways, so yeah, let's see. I started therapy again, because I was having a really rough time, you guys. I was having a really rough time with this transition. I don't know if I've talked about this on here, about me personally, or can you hear me yelling? Or in general about this issue that involves anxiety, but irritability and anger. I don't experience that all the time, but I think when my world feels really intense, like it had the last few weeks, that like gets triggered. And Henry is 2, and he was just having fits everywhere. He didn't want to be in the car, and we had to be in the car at least 6 different times. And so every time, 6 times a day, a massive 2-year-old explosive fit would take place. And then on top of having to like be somewhere on time and having to like get him in the car, it was like a trigger. Like, I think it was just like a sensory overload thing, which I've talked about before, just like the loud noise, and I couldn't control it. And it wasn't like I could just like stop and work through that. Like, it was like, I have to keep going because I have to get my kids somewhere. And it was just like really making my irritability and like anxiety skyrocket, skyrocket so much that for like a week I thought, oh my gosh, do I need to go to my doctor and like increase my medication? And I just kept like battling myself, because obviously I'm pro medication if you want to do that, and that helps. But there was just this like part of me that was thinking, you know, I feel like I've been really stable with all my anxiety symptoms for the most part. Of course, they always flare up with things, but this, few weeks was so intense. And I just was thinking, like, what is going on? Like, why am I feeling this way so much? And, I think it was just, like I said, the transition and the sensory overload of it was just constantly loud and, like, crazy. And I was not in control of my environment. And just some stuff from my past that was kind of making me sad, that there was just a bunch of triggers, things that I've dealt with, things that I guess still need to deal with, and it just kind of all kept bubbling up, and I was just feeling these emotions so much throughout the day, and it was just, it was exhausting. And again, I've talked about how that just affects everything. It affects my relationship with my friends, my husband, my family, my kids, just my overall attitude with the world and whatnot. And so, yeah, I thought, do I need to up my medication? And then I decided, no. Maybe if therapy doesn't work, sure, I'm fine to do that. But I thought, this isn't just like coming out of nowhere. Like, there's a reason all of these feelings and symptoms are so intense. And so I just decided it was time to go back to therapy. And basically, I think what I'm going to be trying to personally work on is it's just like rewiring my brain. I know what my triggers are, so I'm kind of hoping that I can learn how, when those triggers do happen, or these incidences that I know make things difficult for me, that I can kind of try and train my brain to look at it a different way. And I'm very positive about that. I'm very hopeful about that, because I know it's worked for me in the past. And again, my husband's been super supportive about it. So I'm starting that. Also, whenever I start a new therapy or class or approach to dealing with something, it almost changes my attitude, because it's like inside of me, I'm thinking, I know things are going to get better, and there's just kind of this sense of relief that comes with that kind of also changes my attitude and makes me feel better. It's like, okay, like I feel like shit right now, but I know I'm gonna feel better because I'm gonna work on it. Like I'm not just gonna let this sit like this. Like I've said a million times, I'm super proactive about that. So I just didn't feel right, and I was struggling. So I decided, yeah, going back to therapy. So I've only done one session. I'm not sure if I really, it's a girl this time. I'm not sure if I really how I feel about her yet, but it's just been one session, so I'm gonna see her, I think, a few more times and kind of see where that goes, and if need be, I can search around a little bit. But anyways, I guess kind of like that's my update. Yeah, it's just been a crazy, last month was crazy. I think that's really the only word that I can describe that with. But it was also amazing. My oldest started kindergarten. That's huge. He lost his first tooth. Ugh, huge. He's been playing soccer and kicking ass at it, and not just because I'm his mom, and of course I'm always going to be pro my kids, but that kid is good. My kids just tested for new belts in Taekwondo and they passed. Like, there's just like really awesome things that have happened in between all of that. Henry, who's had to do speech therapy this last year, has just skyrocketed, and he's really just communicating with us so much better, and things are so fun that way. So it's like, yeah, there's been some difficult things, and I personally need to work on some stuff, and I'm really thankful, and I thank God that I have a husband that's like, you know, do it. So, yeah, I'm just hopeful that, you know, I can just learn some new tools and tricks to kind of help my brain rethink, kind of situations when they pop up, because there's always going to be situations. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that. Anyways, I think now that I am in a routine and life hasn't necessarily calmed down, but I guess I've calmed down, I think these videos will be more on the regular, and I'm excited about that. Oh yeah, I've been sewing like a fiend, and it is totally helping. Man, I love sewing. It is truly my art therapy. I'm doing an art show in November, or a craft show in November with a friend, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I've been trying to pump out stuff, and I'm over here. Okay. Henry's new thing to say is, can you say see ya? Can you say see ya? See ya. So on that note, I think I'm gonna leave. See ya. Say see ya. See ya. Mwah. Bye. Bye.